Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today I'm starting my 2022 boxing awards. I'm going to take a bunch of different awards, probably about 12 of them, and I'm going to do a video breaking down candidates from each division, and then I will do roughly a top 10 or so of fighters, and I'll discuss that. So we start off with the first award here is the best performance in defeat. Now, this could be, a fighter that lost controversially, but I mean, I have an award for that. This is for guys that pretty much legitimately lost, but they fought their ass off and went, really gave it their all and got nothing to hang their head about following the defeat. So we're gonna start with I only cover 122 to heavyweight, like per my top 10s, but I do pay attention to some of the top level fighters from the divisions under that. And the first candidate I want to throw out there is Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez for his close decision loss to Juan Francisco Estrada in their third fight. That was a really big fight for them right there. Doing it a third time, Estrada had won by split decision last year, and they wanted to get the third fight going, and he won by just a little bit more. It was close again. It does warrant potentially a fourth fight, and I want to, that's an honorable mention right there. Or, well, not an honorable mention, that's a candidate. Under 122. Now, 122, there really was only one candidate, in my opinion, and that was Carlos Castro for his 12-round split decision loss to Luis Nery, or 10-round split decision loss. He came in undefeated. Nery was coming off the loss to Brandon Figueroa, but Castro had moved back down from 126 to 122, something he's been doing off and on over the last couple of years. So this was a big fight right here. And coming in, I picked Castro to win, but Nery boxed well, scored a knockdown, but Castro was able to close the fight strong, and it was close. He lost by a split decision, but really put his heart out there. At 126, there is about 5 different candidates, and I'm going to go from bottom to top in terms of where I think they are. First up was Joet Gonzalez's 10-round split decision loss to Isaac Dogbe in an eliminator. These two guys fucking went to war. It was close. He could have called it either way. They went back and forth in this fight. And he just as easily could have won the fight. They gave it to Dogbe, but a very close one. Very strong performance by Gonzalez. Next up is Josh Warrington's majority decision, 12-round majority decision loss to Luis Alberto Lopez. Warrington came in the favorite in this one. Lopez, went on the road as the mandatory challenger. Not a lot of people gave Lopez a chance. He kicked ass like the first 7 rounds. He was doing really well, winning most of the fight. But, first 8 rounds, he was probably up 6-2, 7-1. And then Warrington closed the fight strong. He pretty much swept the last 4 rounds, fought his ass off, almost stopped Lopez, but came up just short, losing his IBF title. Next, Michael Conlan's 12th round TKO loss to Lee Wood for the WBA regular belt. Michael Conlan went in there and boxed his ass off in this fight. It was a good competitive bout, tough fight for Conlan, but he was boxing well and he was winning convincingly heading into the championship rounds. And then he got tired. He got caught by a shot that put him down in the 11th. And then in the 12th, he went out there still groggy and got caught with a wicked right hand that drove him through the ropes and knocked him out. But nothing to hang his head about. He really went out on his shield. He had that fight won on the cards, but couldn't hold on, but he fought his ass off. So that was a strong one. Next is Mark Magsayo's 12-round split decision loss to Ray Vargas for the WBC title, when he lost the WBC title. I mean, this one we knew was going to be a banger. A lot of people were saying it could go either way, and I thought it was a great fight. I thought Ray Vargas was winning cleanly, and then he decided to go for the knockout instead of just boxing and taking the decision, and it almost cost him. He got hurt. He got put down in the late round. and won a split decision. And Magsayo, though, he really showed a lot of heart in that one, you know, scoring a knockdown and going right at Vargas in the late rounds and closed the show strong. But the top candidate, in my opinion, at featherweight was Gary Russell Jr.'s 12-round majority decision loss to Mark Magsayo, as Gary Russell boxed so incredibly, so well for a one-handed fighter. He was down, it looked like first half of the fight, he was probably down 4 rounds to 2, 5 rounds to 1, and it was really looking bleak. And the second half of the fight, he just started inching closer and closer, but he was throwing one punch at a time because he injured his shoulder around the 3rd or 4th round, so he really could only throw one arm, and he closed the show and just barely lost a majority decision. But to fight that way with one arm was impressive. So that's my top candidate at 126. 130 goes to Zelfa Barrett's 9th round TKO loss to Shavkat Rakhimov as they competed for the vacant IBF title. You know, Barrett was kicking ass. He had put Rakhimov down with an uppercut in the 2nd or 3rd round and was winning halfway through the fight convincingly, and then Rakhimov started to close the gap around round 5. He started to close the gap, get closer, wear down Zelfa Barrett. Barrett seemingly suffered some kind of a leg injury, and then he couldn't hold on. He was also tired from moving, and he got caught and put down in the 9th round and out and lost by a TKO. So, you know, Barrett went out on his shield, showed a lot of heart. 135, there's a couple candidates. First up was Jermaine Ortiz's 12-round unanimous decision loss to Vasily Lomachenko. Nobody gave Ortiz a chance heading into this fight. Lomachenko was a heavy favorite, and Ortiz went in there and boxed his ass off. Lomachenko had to close the second half of the fight very strong in order to walk away with this close unanimous decision. It was a really strong performance out of a young, undefeated fighter, and he really impressed a lot of people with that performance. The other candidate goes to Jorge Linares' 12th round TKO loss to what's his name, Abdullayev. It was a good, hard-fought battle. Linares was winning the fight heading into the late rounds, and then in the 12th, where he had the fight locked up, he got caught, he got hurt, and he couldn't hold on. But he was winning on the cards, much like Michael Conlan. Tough loss for Linares. That led to that was the first of 2 consecutive losses, 3 out of 4. I think 3 out of 4 fights for him, and really, you know, but you know, he really boxed his ass off. It was really a great performance until he got caught in that 12th round. 140, I got 3 candidates. First up is Jack Catterall's split decision loss to Josh Taylor. This is a controversial fight. A lot of people thought he won the fight. You know, I didn't see it personally. It was close from what I heard, but he also scored the knockdown, went to the scorecards. He lost a split decision. Controversial. Next candidate is Batir Akhmedov's 12-round split decision loss to Alberto Puello for the WBA title. You know, I thought Akhmedov won the fight, but it was very razor-thin close. I mean, these 2 guys went to war. Great fight between these two contrasting styles going at it, and Puello walked away with the win. Akhmedov, another tough loss for him, you know, decision loss, but he really got nothing to hang his head about. He fought his ass off for the vacant WBA belt. And then the last one was Sandor Martins' 10-round split decision loss to Teofimo Lopez. Close fight. You know, Martin really boxed well, but Lopez, I think, just outworked him a little bit. But it was very close. I do think it could have went either way, but Martin really fought his ass off, surprised a lot of people, and walked out of there a legitimate 140-pound contender still after that performance. So good performance. One candidate at welterweight, 147, that's Radzab Butayev for his 12-round split decision loss to Imantas Stanionis as he lost the WBA regular belt. This is a mandatory fight. Butayev had defeated Jamal James the year prior to capture the belt, and he had to face Stanionis. A really good back and forth fight right here. Stanionis just did a little bit more he was able to outwork him just by a little. Butaya fought his ass off though, trying to stay champion, but came up just short, losing that split decision. Two candidates at 154. First up, Erickson Lubin's 9th round TKO loss to Sebastian Fundora. Man, what a fight this was. Lubin got put down early on, and then he started to outwork Fundora after he found his legs. And heading into the middle rounds, like around 6, 7, he was winning the fight on the scorecards and even returned the knockdown in the 7th round and put down Fundora. And it looked like he might be able to get him out of there. But he just had taken so much punishment to that point. He was beat up, he was bloodied, his face was swelled up, and he just couldn't hold on as he wore down in the 8th round and the 9th round. Fundora finished him off. 9th round TKO loss, but he really showed a lot of heart going out on his shield like that. Very strong performance. Also, the other candidate at 154 was Brian Castaño's 10th round knockout loss to Jermell Charlo. I mean, their first fight was great. It was for the undisputed title. A lot of people thought Castaño won, myself included. The rematch was very good as well. Charlo fought his ass off, landing the harder shots, but Castaño was just throwing more, and it was just such a competitive, very good rematch. But Charlo just caught him with some good, strong punches and wore him down. Finally, in the 10th, he caught him clean, put him down hard, put him down again, and Castaño couldn't continue anymore. But he went out on his shield, losing for the first time. Hard fought battle by Castaño. 160, we got one candidate, and it's Ryota Murata. His 9th round TKO loss to Triple G Gennady Golovkin, as he lost the WBA belt as he was trying to unify the WBA and IBF titles with Triple G. Through 5 rounds after, considering he was out almost 2.5 years, this was such a good performance. Through 5 rounds, he was definitely in the fight, but Triple G seemed to take over a little bit in the 5th and 6th rounds, and then he just pitched a shutout through the 9th when he finally stopped tough Murata and became unified champ. But Murata, for being out of action for 2.5 years and going against still the guy considered being number 1 at 160, this was a strong performance. 168, 2 candidates. First up is Daniel Jacobs, his 12-round split decision loss to John Ryder. They competed in a contenders bout earlier in the year. A good fight right here. Jacobs was winning halfway through, was outboxing, outworking Ryder, and then Ryder closed the show. Second half of the fight, he turned it on. He fought well. He kept coming at Jacobs. Really good, close battle. Went to the scorecards where Jacobs, he just took his foot off the gas pedal just a little bit too much, and he came up short, losing a split decision to Ryder in a good-ass fight. The other candidate was Triple G's unanimous decision loss to Canelo. Canelo was dominating Triple G through 7-8 rounds. No doubt he had won almost every round. And then Triple G, at the advanced age of 39, 40 years old, decided to put his foot on the gas pedal and go for it against Canelo for the undisputed title. He closed the fight strong, made it a lot closer than it should have been, and dropped the decision. But really, a good way to close it. He fought hard. Strong performance there. 175. It was tough to choose. There wasn't a lot of close fights, so I gave it to Canelo for his unanimous decision loss to Dimitri Bivol. He was in the fight halfway through, but Bivol pretty much took over in the second half of the fight and never looked back. Canelo fought hard. He stayed in there, but that was probably the best candidate I could find for best performance in defeat. 200 pounds, there's a couple candidates. First up was Thabiso Mashunu's 12-round split decision loss to Ilunga Makabu. Controversial fight right here. A lot of people thought Mashunu won the rematch between the two, but Makabu got the nod. Close fight to call. I didn't see it personally, but it definitely was a strong performance in defeat by Makabu. The other one was Richard Rivera's 10-round split decision loss to Badou Jack. Jack was the heavy favorite. Rivera was undefeated, but hadn't fought anybody close to Jack's level. And he fought hard, but Jack just was, it was a close, hard battle, hard-fought battle. very close, and Rivera dropped the split decision, but he's thrown his name into the mix now with that loss. So, you know, really showed a lot of heart. And then at heavyweight, there's 3 candidates. First up, Luis Ortiz's 12-round unanimous decision loss to Andy Ruiz Jr. He got put down 3 times in this fight, got up, even at 42. I personally felt like he won the fight, but it was close because of the knockdowns, and Ruiz got the somewhat controversial unanimous decision. Also was Anthony Joshua's 12-round split decision against Alexander Usyk. He made the second fight closer than the first fight. I still believe Usyk won the fight, but Joshua definitely fought harder and went in there and put his heart out there going for it, but came up short, losing the split decision over 12. And then the final one was Jermaine Franklin's 12-round majority decision loss to Dillian Whyte in November. He went in there, a lot of people didn't give him a chance, fought his ass off with the potential shot at Anthony Joshua on the line, and he came up just short, losing a majority decision, as Dillian Whyte landed the harder shots, but Franklin did box well, so I had to throw that one in there. But now we're going to look at pretty much the top 8 candidates from the year for best performance and defeat. Number 8 for me was probably Daniel Jacobs' split decision loss to John Ryder. You know, Jacobs was coming in off almost a year and a half off, only fought a couple times in 2 years, and he's coming in the favorite against Ryder, who's trying to prove himself. And Jacobs boxed his ass off. He really did box well. He just took his foot off the gas pedal just a little bit in the later rounds, and that cost him. But he fought hard. It was a good contenders bout at 168, and that's my number 8 one. Number 7, I gave it to Batir Akhmedov's 12-round split decision loss to Alberto Puello. I mean, Akhmedov, I thought he won, but it was very close. It could have went either way. These 2 guys, like I said, they went to absolute war for the vacant title, the vacant WBA title at 140. Very good battle. Akhmedov, you know, like I said, should definitely get opportunities because of this battle. He really went out there and left it all out there. Really good performance. Next, I'm gonna go with Chocolatito at number 6. His unanimous decision loss to Estrada. For a 3rd fight in his age, and Estrada being the top dog in the division, it's tough to come out and win. A lot of people, I think, thought Estrada was going to separate himself a little bit more this time. He did, but it was less than what people thought. I mean, it was a close fight. Chocolatito was there all the way down to the end, and you can argue that a 4th fight should happen and could happen. But, you know, definitely a big fight, and the fact that you went out there and fought his ass off and made it close, that was big. So he's number 6. Number 5, I'm giving it to Brian Castaño's 10th round knockout loss to Jermell Charlo. This was for the undisputed title at 154. Castaño was undefeated. A lot of people thought he won the first fight. He really did throw more punches. He just got hit with the harder shots. You know, Charlo really fought a calculated fight. He had to, Castaño hit him with some good shots. Charlo had to weather that and keep sitting down on his punches in order to wear down Castaño. But Castaño kept fighting all the way down until he was out and done. And I got to hand it to him. To go out like that in a rematch for the undisputed title, that was big. That was a great performance by Castaño. Number 4, I'm giving to Mark Magsayo for his 12-round split decision loss to Ray Vargas. You know, I said it a little while ago, Mark Magsayo really fought his ass off. He really did. That was a great fight with Vargas. Vargas was boxing well and probably could have kept boxing that way and walked away with the decision, but he decided to go for the knockout, and Magsayo took advantage of that mistake. He went after Vargas. He hurt him. He knocked him down, and almost pulled it out, but lost it was deserving for Vargas, but Magsayo really put his heart out there and went for it in those late rounds, and that was impressive. So he finished number 4. Number 3 was Jack Catterall's 12-round split decision loss to Josh Taylor. A lot of people will argue that he should have won the fight. Maybe he should have. He didn't, though. Taylor won, according to the judges, but he fought his ass off, scored a knockdown in the fight, maybe deserved to win, and I got to hand him number 3 on the year. Number 2, got to give Erickson Lubin some love here, man. The beating that he took, and to weather that storm against that guy with such an awkward style, and just to take that kind of beating, score a knockdown, be ahead on the cards, and still get stopped. I mean, it was just the heart that Lubin showed, how beat up he was. That was just such a fucking impressive performance in defeat right there. But the overall best performance in defeat in 2022 for me, people are going to be surprised, but I'm giving it to Gary Russell Jr. for his majority decision loss to Mark Magsayo, because he fought 8 or 9 rounds with one arm, and he almost won. That shows you how good he is with 2 arms, and that the fight probably isn't close, and we're probably not looking at a Fight of the Year candidate in Magsayo and Vargas if Russell didn't get injured. The fact that he got hurt, that he didn't retire in his corner and lose his belt, that he fought his ass off, that shows heart, that shows courage to fight hurt like that with one arm and still go for it. He could have just stood there and took it and made the excuse after and got his ass whipped the entire fight. But he went after him with one arm and almost beat him. I mean, he came very close to winning that fight and keeping his title. I got to give love to Gary Russell Jr. for that performance in defeat. That was my 2022 best performance in defeat. Gary Russell Jr. majority decision loss to Mark Magsayo, where he lost the WBC title. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was my first boxing award of 2022 that I'm handing out. That is the best performance in defeat. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.